If you're middle class, the biggest wealth killer in 2026 won't look like a crash. It won't show up as a headline. It won't come with sirens. You won't even feel reckless when you do it. It'll feel responsible. It'll feel smart. It'll feel like you're finally catching up. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because the one mistake that quietly destroys middle-class wealth in 2026 is this. You start investing without a margin of safety. You buy at any price. You accept risk you don't understand. You confuse activity with progress. And you slowly drift from investing into speculation, dressed up as investing. Today, I'm going to show you how this mistake sneaks into normal, hard-working lives, especially if you're contributing to a 401k, trying to build a Roth IRA, or just trying to do the right thing while life keeps getting more expensive. And then I'll give you a Benjamin Graham-style fix that's simple, defensive, and realistic. The kind of approach that lets you sleep at night, protect your capital, and get richer slowly on purpose. In a minute, I'll also give you a 30-second test you can use on your own portfolio to see if this silent killer is already inside it. Let's start with why this hurts the middle class more than anyone else. Because the middle class doesn't usually lose money in one dramatic blow. Middle class wealth gets destroyed in quiet, expensive ways. A few bad years, a couple of panic decisions, a portfolio that's riskier than it looks, fees that don't feel like fees, taxes you didn't plan for, and the biggest one, buying things you don't truly understand at prices that leave you no room for error. Benjamin Graham said, an investment operation is one that, upon thorough analysis, promises safety of principal and an adequate return. Operations not meeting these requirements are speculative. That definition is brutally honest because it means the market doesn't decide whether you're investing or speculating. You do by the price you pay, the analysis you do, and the protection you build in. Now, here's how the silent killer usually shows up in real life. Picture a normal person. Maybe it's you. You earn decent money. You're not trying to get rich overnight. You're trying to stop feeling behind. You're doing the right things. You're contributing. You're saving. You're watching your spending. You're trying to be responsible. But the pressure is still there. Rent or a mortgage, car payments, insurance, groceries that somehow cost more every month, kids, family, or just the cost of existing. And then you look at your retirement number and you feel that tension, the one nobody likes to admit. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Why does it still feel like I'm not getting ahead? That emotional pressure is the entry, because when you feel behind, you become vulnerable to one idea. I just need a better return. Not a better process, not better risk control, not better discipline, just a better return. And that's when you start making the 2026 mistake. You stop demanding a margin of safety. You stop caring about price relative to value. You start believing that high quality means safe at any price, or that popular means proven, or that professional looking means low risk. Graham would call this exactly what it is, the market turning you into a participant in speculation without you realizing you signed up. So, here's your 30-second test. 3 questions. Answer honestly. No shame, just clarity. Question 1. If your biggest holding dropped 30% next month, would you feel more excited or more terrified? Excited doesn't mean you enjoy pain. It means you believe you own value, and Mr. Market is offering you more at a better price. Terrified usually means you don't have conviction in value. You have hope in price. Question 2. Can you explain out loud in 2 sentences why Your biggest holding is worth what you paid for it, not why it's a great company, not why everyone needs it, not why it's the future, why it's worth that price. If you can't connect price to value, you're guessing. Question 3. Would you still feel good about owning it if the stock market closed for 2 years? Because a real investor can handle time. A speculator needs constant price validation. If you answered terrified, I'm not sure, and no, that doesn't mean you're dumb. It means you're normal. It means you're experiencing what Graham warned about. The market's emotional system, Mr. Market, pulling you into decisions that feel rational in the moment. Now let me show you the 4 most common ways this silent killer hides in 2026 portfolios, especially middle-class portfolios. Number 1, buying safe things at unsafe prices. This is the most common version. You hear a company is high quality. You hear an asset is the best in class. You hear a fund manager is elite. You hear a theme is inevitable. And gradually, the question changes. Instead of asking, what is this worth? You ask, will this keep going up? That shift is everything, because high quality does not equal low risk if you overpay. Graham's whole philosophy is built on this point. Even the best business can be a bad investment at the wrong price. If you pay a price that assumes perfection, you have no margin of safety. And without margin of safety, the market doesn't need to collapse to hurt you. All it needs is normal disappointment, a normal earnings miss, a normal slowdown, a normal rate change, a normal change in sentiment. And then the portfolio that felt safe starts quietly bleeding. Number 2, concentration that doesn't look like concentration. This is sneaky. You think you're diversified because you own multiple tickers. But if those holdings move together, you're not diversified, you're duplicated. This happens when you load up on the same idea in different costumes. If 5 of your holdings depend on the same story, the same trend, the same environment, you don't have 5 sources of strength. You have one fragile pillar. Middle-class investors are especially vulnerable here because the temptation is to make it count. When you feel behind, diversification can feel like moving slowly, so you concentrate, not out of greed, out of urgency. And urgency is a terrible portfolio manager. Number 3, comfort products that remove control. These are investments or strategies designed to feel easy and protected, but they come with hidden costs. It could be complexity. It could be expensive wrappers. It could be promises of downside protection that are really just trade-offs you don't see until it's too late. Graham's defensive investor approach is the opposite. It's not about sophistication, it's about protection. The middle class often doesn't have the time to analyze complex products, and that's not a moral failure. Life is busy. But that reality creates a trap. You outsource thinking to a product, and you assume packaged means safe. Graham would tell you, if you don't understand how it works, you don't own an investment. You own a question mark. Number 4, constant switching because anxiety feels like strategy. This one is brutally common. You see a headline, you see a dip, you see a new best opportunity. You read a thread, you watch a clip, and you adjust again and again. You're not reckless. You're trying to be responsible, but constant switching comes with quiet wealth destruction. Selling after fear, buying after excitement, paying spreads, triggering taxes, missing the best recovery days because you wanted certainty. Graham didn't build a philosophy for people who need constant excitement. He built one for people who want to build wealth while living their lives. Now, the reason this silent killer hits the middle class harder is simple. The middle class can't afford long recovery time. If you lose 40% at 35, you might recover. If you lose 40% at 52, with kids, a mortgage, and rising expenses, you don't just lose money. You lose options. You lose years. And the most painful part? Most people don't even realize what happened. They think the market did it to them. But what really happened, they bought without a margin of safety. So the normal volatility of markets became financial damage. So what's the fix? Benjamin Graham's fix isn't flashy. It's calm, boring, and powerful. It's a set of guardrails that protect you from two enemies: overpaying and overreacting. I'm going to give you 3 rules. The third is the one that changes everything for retirement security. Rule number 1, margin of safety is not pessimism. It's pricing discipline. Most people misunderstand margin of safety. They think it means buying cheap junk, or being cynical, or never buying great businesses. That's not it. Margin of safety means you build a buffer between what you pay and what the asset is reasonably worth. Why? Because real life is messy. Forecasts are wrong. Unexpected things happen. Businesses disappoint. Economies shift. The margin of safety is how you survive being human. For a defensive investor, the practical takeaway is this: you don't need to predict the future. You need to stop paying prices that require you to be right. Let me say that again. Stop paying prices that require you to be right. Because when you pay a perfect price, you've already lost the defense. You're now hoping, and hope is not a strategy. Rule number 2, invest like an owner, not like a viewer. A viewer watches price. A viewer checks daily. A viewer needs the market to agree with them to feel okay. An owner thinks differently. An owner asks, what is the business or asset producing? What are the risks? What could go wrong? What am I paying for those cash flows or that value? Owners don't need constant validation. Owners can hold through noise because they're anchored to value, not mood. This is exactly Graham's Mr. Market lesson. Mr. Market shows up every day offering you a price. Some days he's euphoric. Some days he's depressed. Your job is not to follow his emotions. Your job is to use his emotion. In other words, when Mr. Market is manic, you don't chase. When he's depressed, you don't panic. The middle class wins when they stop letting daily mood swings control lifetime outcomes. Now, rule number 3, the one that protects retirement, even if you started late. Build a portfolio that prevents you from making catastrophic decisions. This is the heart of defensive investing, because most middle-class investors don't fail because they picked the wrong asset. They fail because they were forced into the worst decision at the worst time. They had too much risk, too much concentration, too much volatility relative to their life. And when the drawdown came, they couldn't emotionally or financially hold it. So the solution is not to become a genius. The solution is to build a portfolio that matches your real life. Graham's defensive approach points to 3 behaviors. 1, real diversification, not ticker diversification, true risk diversification. 2, a simple allocation you can maintain, because a plan you can't follow is not a plan. 3, periodic rebalancing, not because you're trying to outsmart the market, but because you're trying to outsmart yourself. Rebalance is how you quietly sell what got expensive and add to what got cheaper, without needing courage in the moment. It automates discipline, and discipline is the middle class superpower, because the middle class doesn't usually have insider access, special deals, or unlimited time. But you do have something powerful: steady contribution, long time horizon, and the ability to build a process. That's how you get rich slowly. Now, let's turn this into something you can actually apply. I'm going to give you a simple anti-silent killer checklist. This is not financial advice. It's a Graham-style framework for thinking like a defensive investor. 5 items. If you do these consistently, you dramatically reduce the chances that 2026 quietly wrecks your wealth. Number 1, write your buying rule. Before you buy anything, you need one sentence that answers what has to be true for this to be a safe investment. For a lot of people, that rule might be, I only buy broad, low-cost, diversified funds on a schedule. For others, it might be, I only buy individual stocks when I can explain the value and I'm not paying a price that requires perfect growth. The key is not the exact rule. The key is having a rule, because without a rule, your buying decision becomes a mood decision. Number 2, write your selling rule. Most people sell for the wrong reasons. They sell because price moved. Graham would push you to think in terms of fundamentals and value. A simple, defensive selling rule could be, I sell if the original reason I bought no longer exists, or if the price becomes so high that my margin of safety disappears. That keeps you from panic selling, and it keeps you from holding forever out of denial. Number 3, set concentration limits. If one holding can ruin your retirement, it's too big. A defensive investor doesn't ask, what's the maximum I can make? They ask, what's the maximum I can lose without breaking my life? Set a simple limit. It could be a percentage. It could be a rule like, no single position can determine my outcome. Middle-class wealth is built by avoiding catastrophic mistakes, not by swinging for home runs. Number 4, schedule rebalancing. Put it on the calendar, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, whatever is realistic. The point is consistency. When you rebalance, you don't need to guess what's next. You simply restore your risk level. That is how you keep your plan stable when the world is unstable. Number 5, create a behavior rule for scary markets. This one matters more than people realize. When markets drop, your brain wants relief. It wants certainty. It wants to do something. So you need a rule that protects you from your own stress. Something like, when the market drops sharply, I do not make any major portfolio changes for 72 hours. Or, I only make changes according to my written plan, not according to headlines. This is how you beat Mr. Market, not with intelligence, with structure. Now let's bring it back to the title. The 2026 mistake that quietly destroys middle-class wealth is investing without a margin of safety. Not because you're bad, not because you're greedy, but because the world is loud, life is expensive, and urgency makes people pay prices that remove their protection. Benjamin Graham's philosophy is counterculture in the modern market. It says, you don't need excitement. You need safety of principle and an adequate return. You don't need to predict. You need a buffer. You don't need to catch up fast. You need to stop falling into traps. And if you do that, if you protect capital, demand a margin of safety, diversify like your retirement depends on it, and rebalance with discipline, you can build serious wealth the boring way. You can get rich slowly, and you can do it with peace. Before you go, I want you to use that 30-second test on your portfolio again. If a 30% drop would make you panic, if you can't, connect price to value. If you need the market to stay open to feel okay, that's not a reason to quit. That's a reason to simplify, defend, and rebuild the process the Graham way. And if you want, leave a comment with just one word, owner or viewer. Be honest, because the shift from viewer to owner, paired with a margin of safety, is how middle-class investors stop being quietly destroyed and start becoming quietly secure.